Every week, the Russian invasion of Ukraine cost $4.5 billion in infrastructure damage as bombs destroy countless structures, utilities, and miles of road. According to the estimates compiled by Kyiv School of Economics, or KSE, and supported by the Ukrainian government, the total amount of direct infrastructure damage has reached $92 billion since Vladimir Putin ordered the invasion in February. At least 4,431 residential structures, 92 industrial and warehouse buildings, 378 educational facilities, 138 medical facilities, 12 airports, and 7 thermo and hydroelectric power plants have been damaged, destroyed, or taken. Over 23,000 kilometers of road have been torn up or marked by shelling, and nearly 90,000 vehicles, totaling billions of dollars in damage, have also suffered damage. Since the invasion, 152 cultural and historic landmarks in Ukraine have been completely or partially destroyed, according to UN experts. In today's video, a number of the most major cultural tragedies associated with the conflict in Ukraine are listed. Evankev Historical and Local History Museum. When Russian forces invaded Evankev, a small town close to Kyiv, they attacked and destroyed this museum as their first target. There were reports that 25 works by Ukrainian artist Maria Pyramachenko that were housed at the Evankev Historical and Local History Museum have been set on fire by Russian troops. Multiple videos showing the museum on fire appeared on Twitter, as first reported by Kyiv Independent, sparking an outpour of concern from around the world. Pyramachenko, a self-taught artist who was raised as a peasant, is buried in Evankev, was born there and rose to fame as one of the country's most admired painters. Kuinji Art Museum in Moriopo. On March 21st, during the Russian shelling of the eastern port of Moriopo, the Kuinji Art Museum, which was devoted to the life and artwork of significant Ukrainian realist painter Arkhip Kuinji, was completely destroyed. 650 paintings, 960 graphic pieces, 150 sculptures, and more than 300 pieces of decorative and applied art could be found at Kuinji Art Museum. Only 3 of those, however, the sketch Red Sunset and the 2 studies Elbrus and Autumn, were created by the museum's namesake. Fortunately, it is believed that all 3 of the pieces were taken out of the building before the bombing. However, according to local history, works by numerous other Ukrainian painters include well-known names like Ivan Ayvazovsky, Mykola Hrushchenko, and Tatiana Yablonska, as well as contemporary artists like Vasil Koronchuk, Alexandra Bonarenko, and Ludmila Masalska were presumably destroyed. Drobytsky Yar Holocaust Memorial in Kharkiv. According to UNESCO, the Kharkiv region, which has experienced a fierce Russian campaign for control, is home to 22 cultural sites that have been damaged. Dmytro Kuleba, the defense minister of Ukraine, tweeted on March 26 that the Russian forces had shelled the Drobytsky Yar Holocaust Memorial outside the city. Images posted on social media revealed bullet holes all over the complex, which marks the location where approximately 16,000 Jews and hostages were murdered by the Nazis during World War II. A large black menorah that had been placed at the memorial's entrance also appeared to be destroyed. Donetsk Academic Regional Drama Theatre in Moriopo. The Russian bombing of the Donetsk Academic Regional Drama Theatre in Moriopo stands out as one of the single deadliest known attacks against civilians to date, amid all the horrors that have occurred during the war on Ukraine. The theatre, where up to 1,200 civilians were reportedly taking cover, was bombed by Russian forces on March the 16th. The neoclassical building's scorched, partially collapsed remnants were visible on satellite image. In pictures taken prior to the bombing, the Russian word for children was clearly visible written in chalk on either side of the theatre. In March, the Ukrainian government predicted that the attack had killed about 300 people. On May the 4th, the War Crimes Watch Ukraine project reported evidence that the bombing had killed nearly 600 people. G12 Art School in Moriopo. The G12 Art School in Moriopo, where hundreds of civilians had sought refuge, had been bombed. The Moriopo City Council announced on March 20 via the messaging app Telegram. By a number of sources, including CNN and The Washington Post, the messages were confirmed to be true. The message stated that the Russian occupiers dropped bombs on a G12 art school in the left bank district of Moriopo yesterday, where 400 residents of Moriopo were hiding. The city council reported that women, children, and the elderly took refuge in the school's basement. It is well known that the building was destroyed, but there are still peaceful people hidden beneath the debris. Haku Art Museum. With more than 25 pieces in its collection, the Kyiv Art Museum has one of the biggest and most priceless art collections in Ukraine. Early in March, when the area came under intense artillery and airstrikes, the museum staff scrambled to evacuate the building with its collection, which includes works by renowned Russian artist Ilya Repin, like Reply of the Zaporozhian Cossacks. The museum structure itself is still standing, but images show that numerous airstrikes have blown out most of the windows. Besides that, it is alleged that a layer of dust and debris has been spread over the museum. Hryhoryi Skovoroda National Literary Museum in Skovorodinivka. Zelensky reported in his daily video address on May the 7th that a targeted Russian missile strike had destroyed the historic home of the revered Ukrainian poet and philosopher Hryhoryi Skovoroda, who lived in the 18th century. The Skovoroda Museum was situated in a tiny village outside of Kharkiv's militarized areas. Hryhoryi Skovoroda, also known as Gregory or Grigory Skovoroda, was a philosopher from Ukraine who lived and worked in the Russian Empire. He was a poet, teacher, and a composer, in addition to being known as the Socrates of Ukraine. Skovoroda played a significant role in the 18th century effort to reshape Ukraine's cultural identity. His 300th birthday will be observed in 2022. The Melitopol Museum of Local History. According to Ukrainian officials, Russian forces invaded the Melitopol Museum of Local History on April 30th and took rare Scythian gold artifacts. They carefully removed numerous priceless gold artifacts from cardboard boxes in a museum cellar that date back to more than 2,300 years. At least 198 gold items were taken, including ornaments in the shape of flowers, gold plates, rare antique weapons, 300-year-old silver coins, and unique medals. Many of these gold artifacts were gifts from the Greeks to the Scythians. The cost to Ukrainians is significantly higher than it is to Russians in material terms and tragically in terms of lives lost. Without a doubt, the harm done to Ukrainian society, the economy, the military, the development of its politics and its reputation abroad will outlast both Putin and Zelensky. If you haven't done so already, kindly hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to our channel. Bye!